5 and 3. All right, what is going on? So getting right into it, of course, war between U.S. and Iran has never been closer, and Tehran won't back down to our president. Now, I want to point out, the last video we just did over on news, which if you were watching this as a replay and you have not seen that short, I highly recommend you do. But again, I also recommend that you watch a video I will upcoming and do, and it is inspired by the reaction to the last. Now, as far as in 2 hours, there's tariffs on China that are going on right now, and it is a huge deal. I will tell you why. It is history repeating itself, only with a different country. The people that say that, you know, in less than 2 hours, again, I put bar a possible war, I mean it. And I mean it because this is the exact kind of scenario that we have seen play out before. With Japan, there was a trade embargo. Japan, which was very limited on natural resources, essentially had a very big hit to their pocket, with the U.S. basically cutting off oil, which was 90% of their imports. Again, there was a lot of different things, rubber, steel, all sorts of things that they were getting, and they were all getting them out. Japan back then was very aggressive in close to a couple of years away from a war with, of course, China. They ended up going into Manchuria. They had all these things going on. They were an aggressive expansionist country, which is kind of crazy considering our entire lives they've been like this self-defense country, right? Because maybe they felt they got themselves in trouble. Well, that embargo, that trade war ended up culminating in the attack at Pearl Harbor. If you can imagine the last 4 years, all of the military-age males that have been coming into our country, tens of thousands, and the huge uptick, the property bought by farmlands, the things that have been going on, the things that we've been talking about for now a few years. Think about if those culminate into the same thing. You have Xi Jinping, who cannot be humiliated as part of their culture, the way they are. He can't step down. He can't bow to the U.S. demands, which was the same thing with Japan. It was a thing of honor. They couldn't just bow and basically do what the U.S. said, and it was almost very, very similar, situation there. It was the U.S. demands this and this and this if you want us to do this. That is exactly what's happening right now. It is a big deal. I'll go into the history and bullet point out why these are very similar situations, down to a quick history lesson on Japan. Not today, but I tell you what, watch that because you will realize how close we are to war. It is a big deal. Any history major knows exactly why this trade war and these tariffs that are happening in less than 2 hours could very well be the thing that separates and really, all these people saying, oh, we're too intermingled to have war. That's what they said before. So again, with Iran, at the same time, you have Iran, people saying the same thing. You have Donald who's not going to back down, and you have the Ayatollah who's not going to back down. This is a big deal. It's almost a measuring contest. But again, this one ends very poorly. We'll be back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, so let's go over to Sir Richard Dalton, right? This was a piece put out, and essentially Richard Dalton said that war between you have U.S. and Israel on one hand and Iran on the other has never been higher. Again, this is something where you have, in the last couple days, news of the Ayatollah essentially refusing to do what the president is demanding. You have the president almost got this arrow, these arrows pointing all over the world, and he's like, do something, do something, do something, do something, do something. And you have a lot of countries that are like, oh, we'll work with you. We have countries that are actually doing this. The left media doesn't really want to show you that, but there's a lot of countries that are like, you know what, we're going to come to the negotiating table, we're going to drop some of our tariffs, we're going to work with you. Then you have the countries, the outliers. These countries are ones that have the masculine kind of alpha male leader that's not going to bow down to the U.S. This is history repeating itself, don't get me wrong. And this is a big deal. Sir Richard Dalton described the situation as the most dangerous it has ever been. Trump has warned Iran will face great danger if it fails to sign a new nuclear deal. Direct talks between Washington and Tehran will commence on Saturday, the president said. The former diplomat said, of course, Richard Dalton, said the Americans appear to want a very rapid progress towards a surrender by Iran on 3 fronts. Iran's not in the market for a surrender. They would be in the market for a serious negotiation. If a new deal can't be reached, it has been suggested Trump could launch strikes, and those strikes would be after their nuclear sites. This is why we have 7 plus, possible more too. There's rumors that they might be adding more fleet to this. 7 of a third of our fleet of our B-2 stealth bombers in Diego Garcia. There's a lot going on here. Let me bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So we have, the Don, the president, on one hand, and you have the Ayatollah on the other. Both are going to say, we're not backing down. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, and in addition to Diego Garcia, there's now being reported in the mainstream too that there's been mysterious flights to Bagram, and Bagram is that air base that we gave up in Afghanistan. They said China was running it for a while, but apparently the speculation is that these planes going in there could be reclaiming that base. And if we're reclaiming that base, that is yet another location that's right on top. I mean, literally right on top of Iran.
And you know what's crazy? Let me show you this story from just a couple years ago. Identifying numbers off planes. This was a story I covered a bit ago. 2025. Oh, did I say Millie? I did say Mark. What the hell am I saying? Who am I thinking of? Dex, the guy who took off.
Millahan.
Yeah,
Millahan.
Mark Millahan. Millahan, that's not
Mike.
even... Mike Millahan.
Mike
Millahan, that is right. Thank you. This is a big deal. So there's the mysterious plane flights, and this is just on the spur of the moment. But Mike Millahan ended up making a huge decision to remove identifying numbers off of military planes. It was a very strange move, and this was right after he ended up doing a memo to his inner staff saying, get ready for war with China by 2027. I mean, we have a lot in just the last month, like the possible secret meeting with Elon talking about a war with China, Pete Hegseth sending a memo talking about a war with China. You have all of these things that are going on, and now, of course, the tariffs that are happening in less than 2 hours from now, in about an hour, you have 30 minutes now, you have tariffs hitting 104% with 2 countries that are not going to back down. I mean, honestly, I would see it more likely for the Donald to back down than China. But who knows? Unless they come up with some third situation that works for everybody. Yeah, look at this. U.S. Air Force. This was a story I covered 2023, 2 years ago. U.S. Air Force deletes tail numbers from aircraft as counterintelligence measure. Back then, they didn't say anything about this. This was super quiet. They did this. So these mysterious planes going to possibly Bagram right now, and again, who knows? I don't know if that's verified or what. But if it was, think about that. People that are there, plane spotters and things like that, they see a plane, it's just plain no tail numbers, no identifying numbers. He did this for the majority of the Air Force. He's in charge of getting all of the Air Force, stuff all around the world. So these all connect. Everything we've been talking about for years is about to culminate into something very serious. And I think that our community knows it. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, I got you a link for Bagram. Soon up next.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, check this out. So I'm going to load this.
So yeah, they're saying it's the spooks and that the Taliban has given it back to the U.S. So again, this base, if you guys remember your geography, we maybe show it on the map in a minute, but when we're looking at Iran, but Afghanistan's right there beside it, and Bagram is a lot closer than Diego Garcia, for sure.
Yeah, so something very well might be on the horizon. U.S. military cargo plane that flew into Afghanistan last week has sparked speculation about renewed American control of the strategic Bagram Air Base. According to local media reports, the C-17 aircraft took off from Doha's Al Adid military base, arrived in Afghanistan via Pakistan on Sunday, and landed at Bagram. The aircraft was reportedly carrying senior U.S. intelligence officials, including CIA Deputy Chief Michael Ellis. Anytime the CIA is involved, just watch. There will be some sort of event, some sort of war. It's been like that. That's why when all of this stuff with Ukraine goes, oh, who do we send? We send, Burns, the CIA director. They're always involved, especially on the big stuff. All right, and then Dex, talk about Zelensky warns many China soldiers on Russia's front lines as two captured in shock escalation.
Okay,
what?
Yeah, talk about a new story. This is totally new. We've heard, obviously we heard this type of story come out when they were saying, well, North Korea's on the front lines now. And a lot of people were like, yeah, okay. Well, then it turned out that was true. Well, apparently Zelensky is saying Chinese nationals are now on the front line fighting with Russia. So if this is true and it turns into not just being nationals, but actually being soldiers, and gets a little bit bigger than just a couple of people, we may see that we have three countries engaged in this war. And if you have North Korean troops, Russian troops, and Chinese troops battling Ukraine, that and Europe for that matter, that's a big deal. That's a big shift. Now, he could just be stirring the pot because you know how Zelensky likes to get attention, especially when trade wars are flying and nobody's talking about Ukraine at the moment. And they also have negotiations coming up. I want to say April 10th, so in a couple days, I think the negotiations kick off again.
Perfect timing for this.
Good timing for something like this to help his case.
And even if it's Ganda and these guys are just Chinese Russians, right? That they're like, oh, look at these two guys. They could be Russian citizens, right? But as far as this goes, it could be Ganda in that. But he's saying it out loud. Now you have the world. Europe is going to physically respond. Even if the people, the civilians and the citizens of Europe, even if they know something like this, the actual governments of Europe are going to say, look at this, China's in it. This is going to be used. Whether it's fake or real, it's going to be used by Europe. And they're going to say, look, now China's involved in this. Perfect timing when we've got the tariffs dropping. We have all of these things happening. This is what World War III looks like. And people are going to, I'm telling you, they're going to say it's not coming until after it's over. Yeah, Chinese soldiers on the Russian front lines. Whether it's true or not, it has just been said by Ukraine, and Zelensky has been working with all of Europe to keep this thing going and to get this thing really popping. Look at how they've been preparing. It makes perfect sense. The most obvious answer is the perfect answer. They're getting ready for the massive European war. And yes, maybe we will be separated. Look at why is Hegseth telling people, hey, you guys are going to have to handle Russia and all of them over there. We're going to handle China over here because it will be another world war. We'll be in the same war. Mind you, we'll probably still be supporting Europe too during this big, massive war. Right now, we are being told as U.S. citizens that, we're backing out of this. But yet we're with Israel and Iran. Israel and Iran are connected with Russia and China. And then the tariff conflict with China. That exact tariff conflict is going to be what ends up it is exactly what's happened in the past. Russia sees no reason to discuss peace with Japan. I mean, what country is getting along right now? No reason to discuss peace with Japan. I am so glad that this time we have Japan on our side. I'll just say that right now. For the Japanese out there, I am proud to have you guys as allies. I would not want to have you as enemies. Dex, what is going on here with the Kremlin?
So speaking of World War II, this stems from that. So Russia's declaring no interest in pursuing a peace deal treaty with Japan to formally end the World War II hostilities, citing the Tokyo's unfriendly stance. This was coming from Dmitry Peskov. He said, due to the openly unfriendly policy of the current Japanese authorities towards our country, we see no conditions for dialogue or a peace treaty. So the dispute actually is around 4 islands that are referred to as the Northern Territories by Japan or the Southern Kurils by Russia. They were seized by Soviet forces in 1945. Japan's Prime Minister Sergei Ishiba emphasized the island's importance, saying the Northern Territories issue remains unresolved and it's a matter of restoring Japan's sovereignty. So again, island dispute, territory dispute. It's been going on since World War II, since the Soviets claimed it and Russia kept it, or at least has their claim on it, and Japan has their claim on it. So they continue to dispute this, and neither one is necessarily walking down a line of peace at the moment. And Russia's calling it out, saying there's no need to have it.
Yeah, so, I mean, you look at this and you see exactly what is being painted. This is all culminating into a massive, massive event. It's all happening right in front of our eyes. We knew for years, and people told us we were nuts. Just watch. It's going to unfold, and it's not like we're excited it's happening. This is something I think that, especially when it happens, everyone is going to regret being right. I'm telling you, this is going to be bad. If you've got your bad feeling, then you know. Again, before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. Again, this is one of the affiliates that we actually believe will save your life or possibly get you home to your family or get you out to bug out. But especially in the next few days, we, of course, made sure we've been asking. They ended up doing a giveaway for us. And this is just for our Foogle family. For those of you that can't afford one, I highly recommend that you go and at least enter the giveaway. There will be 5 people only from our audience that will get a free EMP shield. That means that is a car protected. That is a generator protected. That is a home protected. Again, that will ground the signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second if either any country does an EMP strike or multiple EMP strikes, or if during our peak we have a crazy Carrington level event, it will also protect you against that. Again, this is a device you can go and buy right now. But right now, we have a giveaway going. marfooglenews.com/giveaway. And again, alongside this, one lucky winner will actually get $1,000 at the griddown.com store. There's many ways to actually gain more entries into it, so go check that out. They're all free. Again, also, during this giveaway, they are doing $20 extra on top of our $50 discount on 1, 60 on 2, 120 on 3, and 200 on 4. We're independent. Affiliates like this, we believe in, will help save you. Will also help save us as an independent media. We don't switch around. We don't have some third-party multi-channel network picking what we are selling here. We're not having a rotation of things happening every single day. I'm not going, I believe in keto diet. And again, I'm not, clowning on keto diet. But my friend who did that, the multi-channel network route, he basically had to represent a keto diet thing when he didn't even know what it was. That's not us. All of our products are things that we believe in, we use a lot, and we think will save you. So make sure to go check it out. It is a good way to support your favorite channel at the same time as getting prepared. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and go buy one if you would like to do that. Otherwise, just share our channel out. That is the only way we're getting out right now. And the message couldn't be more important to get out right now. I think that people need to have their ducks in a row: food, medicine, protection, and of course, water. All right. And make sure to use code MARF again and enter that giveaway. There's no downside. All right. And then South Korea fires warning shots at the North Korean crossing demilitarized zone. You've got warning shots on the border of North Korea, of South Korea and North Korea. And not only this, by the way, there's also border situations going on with our border. We'll talk about that next. We're talking about strikes on narco terrorists. Dex, let's talk about South Korea and these warning shots that were just fired into the demilitarized zone.
Well, yeah, we were just talking about the reports last night about 1,500 of these troops, North Korean troops, down at the DMZ, doing fortifications and laying barbed wire and basically preparing for war. Apparently, a number of them, greater than 10, I believe, crossed into the border. And because of that, as soon as they crossed over the DMZ, the warning shots were fired and alarms were sent off. And then they did say there was no injuries occurred, that obviously the troops did retreat, but that's a pretty serious incident when you think about it. I mean, like it does happen there. It's not like this is the first time they've ever had warning shots there, but at the same time, it's not like every day. And given the tensions that have been going on lately, given the escalation and everything that North Korea has done to prepare at the border there for war against South Korea, when you see these things happening now, you got to take it a little more seriously. And not that 10 people are going to start the conflict, but they certainly can escalate things into one.
Everything that we needed for war to happen, including I think that the South Korean president, Yoon Suk-yeol, would have stopped what is about to happen. Remember, he was claiming when he did his late night martial law that China had infiltrated his country's government and that they were sympathetic to North Koreans. Yesterday, we showed you that image of the 1,500 soldiers, North Korea, at the border. They're laying barbed wire. They're preparing for a war. Does this not sound like a whole lot like what Europe is doing? Is sounding a whole lot like what China's doing with their tests with the Centipede ships doing drop-offs at Taiwan? People think that this is just Taiwan. This is Japan. This is Russia. This is Iran. This is Venezuela. This is Guyana. This is freaking China, Philippines. Everybody's at war. And it's not going away. There's tensions where they're going to have to come to a head, and we better hope that the dust settles on our side. These Korean troops and things, I think they took out Yoon Suk-yeol, and then this is the result. Like they needed to get him out of the way because he was going to stop this, or he was doing things to try to stop it. They put in their puppet. One thing that bothers me is that our president has not said much about Yoon Suk-yeol being taken out. Maybe it is because it is so sensitive and there is intelligence about what's going on there. And maybe that's why they're talking about war with China. It very well may be why he's so quiet and tight-lipped about the South. I mean, this is one of our main allies, and the president was arrested, taken out by force after a martial law. Where the hell is the investigation on his claims? That's what I don't get. Where is the investigation if a president of a modern nation, this is an advanced nation that has extremely high-tech, advanced military, you're talking about that. Why is there no looking into the claim that he made? Why would you're thinking he's just like weird and, let's do martial law. He had a reason, and I believe him. And again, I found out even just the other day, Dex said that they were censoring a lot of his supporters. There is a huge group of South Koreans that are literally right behind him and saying, hey, this is wrong. What they show you on the media is the protests saying, get him out of here, impeach him, get him out of here. He's horrible. He did martial law for 8 hours. BS. TikTok videos. When that happened, by the way, it was like almost instant media about how bad he was and how horrible it was. But please. It was martial law in the middle of the night. And yeah, that's a big deal. But again, I think it was for a reason. So right now, you've got that going on. Let me show you this. I'm going to load up this link here. So first of all, let's see. I've got the tweet up already. So let me show you. And then let me load this alongside it. Okay, so... All right, so you have, this is a tweet, U.S. Homeland Security News. Again, by itself, speculative, right? Alert U.S. War Department confirms the administration is planning airstrikes against narco in Mexico. Now, I don't know if that's a little bit, that's putting, words in their mouth, but, of course, went and backed it up with at least this. Trump administration weighs drone strikes on Mexican cartels. Now, we've known this for weeks, especially since the obvious. I mean, if you've got destroyers supporting, border missions, you've got the missions down there, you've got to talk about it, the legal ramifications of what is going to happen, then yeah, something is going on. Obviously, these lawyers, which we talked about a couple days ago from the CIA, said, oh yeah, well, maybe we could do something here. And that's what's going to happen. If they're saying, every time I've read this on the news, it has happened afterwards. Whenever they say we're weighing options, right, on certain things like this, especially like this, it usually happens. Dex, they say that they're weighing drone strikes on Mexican cartels. That's a big deal if we start bombing in other countries.
Yeah, it is. And the question would it be one that we would do covertly without Mexico's permission, or would it be one that we would do together? And it's not, it would not be the first time that we have launched a joint effort to take on the cartels, nor would it be the first time that American military and intelligence worked in concert with Mexico's law enforcement and the army. So we've done this before, just not drone strikes, just other types of actions that we've helped them with in the past in concert. But the question is, what are we going to go that route? Because, a lot of times just informing them that you're doing it's going to get information to the cartel, and that eliminates the opportunity of surprise.
Yeah, I mean, and the response to this, a lot of people are just in disbelief about this, but I'm not in disbelief because honestly, this is the next step. They have now labeled them a domestic organization. They've labeled them terrorists. So this is something that they could take a predator and go boom, and they can even have collateral damage. There could be kids on the ground. They can boom, because legally they've declared them this. Now, as far as if it's in the other country, it's in their home in Mexico, that means they have to work very closely with the Mexican president and the Mexican government. Check and check. That is what's happening. And it's so crazy when you look at the Economist cover from a couple years ago. If you're some of those creepy, predictive programming believing people, man, it showed the outline of that president. And this female president that is in charge of Mexico right now, she may very well be key to a big part of this. Not to mention, if we ever have what the really, really worst case scenario, some sort of invasion of the United States, Mexico would play a part in that too. And if you look at all of the people that were coming in from the south, you look at our border now, our border is like a militarized zone right now. I mean, it literally is. We've got over 10,000 troops. We've got 2 destroyers backing up our freaking border. And people aren't thinking something's going on. We are building a golden dome, much akin to the Iron Dome, but on 1,000 times more of a scale for our United States. Why would we need that? We've got memos going out about war with China. You've got every other country saying war with this, war with that. And people think that this is all just puff and chess. This is not puff and chess. This is the very end of the line. We are here. We are here where we thought we were going to be. And it doesn't matter. We could go back 3 years and find comments of the people who say, yeah, sure, nothing's going to happen. When the war gets officially kicked off, which, by the way, it won't be called World War. World War II wasn't even called World War II until way, way into it. It won't be called that. You'll see things like this happening, the trade wars, all of these different tariffs, all of the different sanctions, all of this is part of it. We're in it right now. And again, when this all pops off, you could go back and say that, but it's not going to matter. Because the goal is not to have people believe. It's to get to the people that already believe and tell them right now is the time to prep. Right now is the time to get your ducks in order. I mean, it really is time to do that. You're not panicking. You're not selling your house and digging a hole. You have time because you're one of the first few that knows that this is absolutely coming. That is my opinion. And again, if you didn't like my opinion, it's weird you're here. U.S. moves advanced missile system to Israel as Iran war fears grow. Dex, what is this system and why are they moving it?
So the United States has deployed the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, also known as the THAAD missile system, to Israel. This is happening as everything is obviously escalating with Iran, with Bagram, with Diego Garcia, with the meeting that just happened with Netanyahu in the White House yesterday. So the system is accompanied by 100 U.S. troops to operate it. It arrived in southern Israel on the 5th. The move aims to bolster the air defense and potentially deal with any retaliations coming from Iran, as the U.S. strikes could go in and the Israeli strikes could go in soon. So yeah, it's another sign, another clear sign that what we're doing is prepping for a major strike on Iran.
Yeah, you put something like this there because you know that there's going to be some sort of retaliation. Their missile mountain is about to be active. So therefore, we bring the most advanced defense system there to stop it. And who knows, by the time this is set up, Iran might be screwed because, man, we have got some really badass equipment. All Things Random says soon the president is going to eliminate income tax. Well, that would be pretty awesome. And I think that something like that would be a very welcome distraction from, and not in a bad way. Everybody would love that. But again, we're going to need some hope here soon. And then Craig Alicious, one of my favorite comments of the day, says Bagram just about seals the deal on war with Iran. Very unhappy with this course of action, prep up fam. All the military members, the active duty ones I've talked to, retired or mixed feelings. But active duty have said war with the Middle East. And this whole time, I'm thinking war with China. I think it's both. I think it is both. It's all connected. And then Olga Turan, thank you so much. Craig Alicious in Australia, thank you so much for that support. Olga Turan, thank you. Again, Bagram just about seals the deal on war with Iran. Very unhappy with this course of action. Prep up fam. Great comment. And yeah, it's going to get wild. As my friend Jacob would say, buckle up. Department of Defense conducting military training in Independence this week. What's going on in Independence, Dex?
Well, we don't really know. It's kind of a mystery, but the Department of Defense will be conducting a preparedness training in Independence, Missouri, starting on the 7th. The Independence Police Department described the exercise as routine, like don't worry about it, but it's part of a national initiative to train military personnel in realistic environments. So the specific locations are not being disclosed for safety, but they did say, hey, if you do hear about the location, they want you to stay away. The sites were selected and to, basically limit the impact on any of the residents or visitors to Independence, Missouri. But they've done similar training in the past in other U.S. cities, but again, no further details were provided. So if you're hanging out or living over there in Independence and you see the DoD, war game in it, you know what's going on.
And you know what kind of war games this is? I think this is going to be some sort of invasion war games where they're on U.S. homeland practicing for if something happens, if something twists up, if, all of a sudden sleeper agents are activated. That sounds totally crazy, and I bet there's going to be plenty of people go, oh, yeah, sure, crazy nutso. We'll see. Well, watch what this drill is. This one has a weird vibe to it, and I have a feeling about it, and we'll see if it's right. Luckily, better than something like Helm, Jade, that happened in 2015. All right, and then Jamata11 says, watching for years, all true. Thank you, Marf fam. Hey, thank you, Jamata11. Thank you. And then accused would-be assassin tried to buy Ukraine rocket launcher, filing says. Well, how the hell would he get a Ukraine rocket launcher? Oh, I'd probably go to his local cartel mini mart, right? They have half the stuff we sent over there, right? According to the media. And then prosecutors saying Ryan Ruth made reconnaissance trips before alleged incident in West Palm Beach in September. So more and more coming out about this. Dex, this is a story. This is number 2 guy, right? Number 1 was at the speech.
Correct. This is the guy hiding in the bushes with the weapon.
Yeah.
But apparently, he had the SKS style rifle. But apparently he was trying to get a rocket launcher from Ukraine. He was trying to coordinate with them, and he thought that given the fact that Trump would be bad for Ukraine, he could get their support and could potentially get that. And if he could get one brought in to America, he could potentially use it to take down the plane that Trump was flying in. So that was his goal. And the real question is, okay, to what level was Ukraine involved here? And not only that, their involvement, but what if they knew Did they bother picking up the telephone and saying, "Hey, by the way, there's a nut job trying to buy this from us, and the candidate is in danger"?
Dude, what if they find out it's like Zelensky himself? But listen to this. Send me an RPG or Stinger, anti-craft aircraft missile, and I will see what we can do. The president, Trump, is not good for Ukraine. I need equipment so that he cannot get selected, right? Ruth wrote in Online Contact he believed was a Ukrainian with direct access to military weapons. Do you remember this guy? You might forget, but he was active in Ukraine. He was actually a volunteer, right? Wasn't he fighting for them, or he was gathering resources for them? What do you call that? Yeah, I forget what the word is, but he was it acquisition. Like he did something for the Ukrainian military, and it's light in my brain. It's vague, but I remember this guy had connections. They had pictures of him in Ukraine with soldiers. So this is just really weird. How high does this thing go up? And this is months later. This was in September. This is 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and you've got them now coming out with this. Like he was trying to get a Stinger anti-aircraft missile, which I bet you that Air Force One could have fought that off. They have probably some sort of defense mechanism on there. But, this guy was a nutso. But was he? Or was this guy a professional? As well as the efforts to buy the rocket launcher and missile, Ruth described a complicated individual with multiple previous arrests attempted to buy a .50 caliber and ammunition from a dealer in Fort Pierce area. 21-page filing, he said he was unsuccessful, having also scoured gun stores in Hawaii where he'd lived with a girlfriend and conducted extensive online searches. Yeah, he failed miserably. The guy's forever going to be known as the guy in the bushes. I mean, really? You mean the guy in the bushes? Dex, could you imagine like being a part of history as like the guy in the bushes? That would be pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think of him as. He's the guy in the bushes.
He's literally the guy in the bushes. That's freaking hilarious. It's not hilarious what he was trying to do, but it is pretty funny. Like, until he's 90, he's going to be the guy in the bushes.
But who's in the grassy knoll?
Oh, good call. I mean, that is a part of history, right? Troy O'Brien, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate the super. All right. The guy in the bushes. By the way, thank your mods. Dropping them in the chat for your awesome mods. I appreciate each and every one of them. Make sure to go down and show support, show some love. Trinity, Wages, Ilea, Rip Curl Readiness has been popping in a lot. Again, thank all of those guys. And Jammer, of course, wonderful. Bobby Sue, thank you. All right. And before we move on, make sure to go check out Jace Medical. If you have food, water, next on that list is medicine. Again, this is a really easy service with a board-certified doctor. You just get on a tablet or a phone or a computer and do a quick telehealth appointment with a board-certified doctor and go, hey, I would like a Jace case. It will come with all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics. Not only does that, have those on hand, but there's also an awesome add-on list. So you can go, hey, board-certified doctor, I need an albuterol inhaler. I need this. I need that. I need that stuff that Joe Rogan was taking, and they said that he was friends with horses. You can do that as well. Go to marfuglenews.com/Jace and make sure to use the code MARF. Not only will you save money, you'll save independent media one step at a time. Again, thank you. That we'll get a small chunk of it. You'll get a small discount. And again, you'll get prepared. It helps everybody out. It's a win-win for everyone. marfuglenews.com/Jace. Again, check about that add-on list. Lots of great stuff. And then check about Jace Daily. That is where you can get actually a 12-month extended supply of your prescription meds. All right. And then China says it will never accept the blackmail. This is happening in a matter of minutes, isn't it? I think this is...
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
5 minutes from
East
now.
Coast time.
104% tariffs hit. You're watching live. It's 8:55 p.m. It's 11:55 on the East Coast. It is about to hit. We are at this moment, and I really do mean this is a very serious moment. And in history, at midnight, we hopefully will see somebody buckle. Because if we don't, I think both of these men are men that aren't going to back down. China, I don't think can. As far as their culture goes, we're making these demands. The fact that they doubled up on it and then now they're doubling up and doubling up, this shows they're doing a measuring contest. And we are all going to really see that this is not a good thing if it doesn't go right. Dex, this is a big deal. I mean, massive. 104% tariff on all everything. I mean, this is crazy.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. And look, you're gonna the tough part about this is what we're getting from the messaging in our media is only one-sided, and it's unfortunate because they're just going to talk about how bad Trump's decisions are. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you one way is right or wrong, but the thing is that what they're not talking about is what is happening on the other side. Like the other side is also having to deal with this, and it's going to be a lot of pressure on them. Their economy, being China's economy, is going to take a big hit. All you're going to hear here is, oh my gosh, we're all going broke. It's going to be a depression. It's going to be a recession. The stock market's collapsing. You're going to spend so much more at Walmart now when you go buy your stuff. Okay, that's the message, and that's all they're going to talk about. Instead of saying the people that have been, doing this on the other side are actually going to be pressured really heavily to cave in and to at least make a better deal with us than the deal we had, which wasn't very economical in our favor. It was very much in their favor. So, you've got to look at both sides of this. Xi is getting hit really, really hard with this, just as much as the media here is going to hit Trump really, really hard. And everybody thinks, oh, if the stock market's down, it hurts us all. So, take that. Look at both sides and understand, as I said a couple nights ago, this is really a game of chicken. Like, who's going to blink first? Now, my prediction is neither one will come out and say they're going to give in. My prediction is they're going to agree to have a meeting. And Xi and Trump will meet, and they will meet in person, and they will come out and say they came up with a solution that's a win-win for both of them, so that they don't walk out of that meeting saying one person bowed down to the other. That would be my prediction of what will happen. It'll probably take a couple of weeks to a month for that to even get to that place. Maybe in advance of a meeting, they would agree to, back off on the tariffs temporarily while they know that a meeting is coming. That would be my guess. That would be a sign of good faith to have a negotiating meeting. That's kind of where I think it's going to happen. But I think we will see this for at least a couple of weeks, if not maybe a month time. If it carries on longer than that, or if Xi just says, absolutely, I'm never talking to you again, then, this is going to be an interesting escalation.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge part of history. Here's a little, they had a kind of a breakdown. Australian stock market set to plunge amid tariff tensions. Nikkei plummets 3%. Australian shares plunge 2%. China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan stocks fall. Billions wiped off Australian stocks. And then 22 minutes ago, China's yuan slides to 19-month low. All of these things are to be expected from what is happening right now. But why this means a very possible war in the very short term, it really depends. And again, we very well could not have anything happen from this other than somebody buckles and good things happen. That's the hopeful part of this, right? This is the optimism that you need to have. But you should also have the preparation for if things go wrong. Because this is a very, very similar situation to what we've had in history. I mean, Japan, again, it's like, watch, we have our own Pearl Harbor moment, which I've talked about for a long time. That's what I expect. If things go wrong, if it's worst case, we're going to have some sort of Pearl Harbor that's going to drag us right into this, what will be called World War III. Dex, go ahead.
Well, and let's also just talk a little bit about what it means if this does work, and if it brings manufacturing back to America. And I like to use my favorite, which is an Apple iPhone, and they're the ones that are taking the beating in the media right now because of the fact that they are so heavily invested in China and everything's going to get screwed up for them. But, when they say bring it back to America, when you think about a device like a phone, whether it's an Apple phone or any other really tiny electronic, in China, you've got like thousands of people, probably tens of thousands of people sitting in lines with tiny screwdrivers screwing in little bitty screws, as they say, right? It's literal hand assembly. And when they bring that to America, we're not going to take Americans and pay them $15, $20 union jobs to sit around and screw in tiny screwdrivers. That's not going to happen at all. What they're talking about doing is bringing that manufacturing into America and using great American technology to turn that into an automated system, an automated factory that can actually robotically build all that and take the place of those 10,000 humans that were doing it in China, and obviously be able to do it for the same price, because you don't have to pay the machines to do it. You don't have to pay the AI. You don't have to pay the robots. And look, we've had robots in the auto industry forever, and they'll continue to evolve, and we'll continue to see this type of thing. But keep in mind, when they talk about bringing a factory in here, they're not talking about bringing a factory and putting 10,000 people to work in that factory screwing screws. They're talking about, building the building, hiring the HVAC guys to put the air conditioning in, the plumbers, all that stuff. And then the technical people get jobs to build out the technology to make sure it runs and to support it, not a bunch of laborers that have traditional union jobs. There will be some of that.
I've been telling
people doing it, but
I've been
it's
telling
going to be automated.
friends and family that robotics is, you don't want to go into coding for websites. Like 10, 15 years ago, especially in Seattle, everybody was telling their kids, like, get into coding. You'll end up at Amazon, or you'll get a coding. That's all going to be automated. Robotics, like actually being on the fixing of the robotics side, that I think will have a job for a very long time. That's going to be one of these jobs, and who knows, until they make a robot that fixes robots, which will happen. But China, what place do they have, right? Everybody knows they're king of the manufacturing, but that's because they always had the cheap labor. They had the people, the human beings that were sitting there for peanuts a day for 12 hours, like Dex said, screwing in things. A robot arm can do that. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So is there a place for a China, or you mentioned it earlier, places in India, all these places, you look at the made in wherever tag, right? Bangladesh, whatever. These places are going to be obsolete when they have robots that can do all of the manual labor that no one else wants to do. Dex, go ahead.
Well, and I wasn't saying that to necessarily make it out like, oh, we're not going to have all these jobs and it's not going to be a big boom, because it will be. Building a plant, it employs a lot of people, and employing people to build that technology employs a lot of people, but it's a different scale, right? And so it will be huge for our economy. It'll be huge for our GDP, because all of that manufacturing will be here and not attributed to China or attributed to some other country. So that would be massively great economically speaking. But it's not going to be the same as when you look in Foxconn and you see like 10,000 employees in a line doing work. That's not what it's going to look like in, Sedona, Arizona, or wherever it is they build a plant.
When does that end, though? We're talking, it's a matter of years. I don't even think it's decades. It could be a couple decades, maybe. But you go further down the line. So say they make that building that has robotic arms that can screw things in and do what these people are already doing. They have one job. Like they have these, if you've seen some of the manufacturing lines in China, some of them, they all vary. Like the Apple one, a lot of people have seen those. They have little booths and they're doing each little individual job, and they have their certain job they do, and they do it 50,000 times a day. Or they have these lines where they're doing one part of it. That's why when you buy stuff from China, 1 out of 10 will have something that's totally put off on the side, because as it went by, they totally screwed up. But down the line, like you said, this will bring jobs. Like people that are building those buildings and manufacturing. Here's my problem is soon enough, there will be inventions and there will be robotics and there will be creating like construction jobs. That is at risk. There will be robots and even huge, massive machines that men will make. And those machines will be able to manufacture homes faster than humans. If you're a human being that does drywall, there will be a drywall machine very soon. I'm telling you, everything that you can think of, plumbers. Oh, a plumber, they'll have an automated thing that goes down and does it. They'll have an automated robot that puts pipes together, does all of that stuff. Welding, I guarantee it. All of these things. Pilots. Heck, now, and the one part you'd think that wouldn't be affected, acting and movies and things like this, AI will eventually be able to do this stuff. And the crappy part about it is people are eating up AI even in content. They're all watching and sharing this stuff. Maybe because it's new and hopefully it's a phase, but when it starts getting good, when you start watching a fake person that you cannot discern that it is a fake person and they make you laugh or they make you cry, then it's going to be a different world. And that's a scary place. I'm scared of where this goes, even with the right people in charge or this. I think that you go far enough down the line, and I don't think people are thinking far enough ahead, or the people that are thinking far enough ahead, they're just basically, well, but that's in 10 years. I'm afraid where humanity is going. Other than the wars, like the wars I don't think are the end of the world. I think it's going to be restructuring of power. I think it's the beginning of the new one. But where humanity is going, I'm very worried about that. What do you guys think? Let me know.
We'll devolve with our intelligence.
We already are.
AI will take it over. It will do everything for us. If it can build everything and decide what it is we need and build what we need on because it developed what it thought we needed to keep us happy and placate us, then all we'll be is just like in the WALL-E movie, the fat guy in the floating chair slurping the big gulp and watching TV.
And that's, if you haven't seen WALL-E, it's a great image of what we will become. And I think you're right, Dex. I think that it's literally we are devolving. I mean, we already are. In 2010, they said that our IQ peaked, and it is slowly going down. The youngins nowadays, they are completely dependent. We talked about this the other day. I have one of my friend's kids is now the same age as my daughter. My daughter is high school reading at 10. Like beyond high school. I think they said almost competent to college level reading and comprehension. I was too. I think some things you get genetically. She's bad at math just like I was. But as far as her friend, same age, same everything, asks Alexa for every single word, the simplest ones. Like day. Just the other day I heard her say, how do you spell it? And she's making signs in Minecraft. They're playing Minecraft together. And she's saying, how do I make this, how do you spell day? How do you spell this? How do you spell that? How do you, every word. And the Alexa's just there. It's not asking mom or dad. It's asking Alexa. And she's not doing to remember it. She's just doing it to write it. And she'll never remember it. She's just writing it, just copying. Okay, D-A-Y. That's not how you learn. You learn by physically writing and learning and understanding it. No, Alexa doesn't do that. Alexa just gives you the freaking answer, and no one learns that way. They might learn temporarily, but it's going to go in and out of your head and faster than you can say day. Let's see here. High-tech computers says, Marf Dex Mods, thanks so much for the best. Has been a member for 3 months. Thank you. And I love that they adapted the memberships, but two, that like on certain, 3 months, 6 months at these kind of hits, they also give you basically a free super. I love that. Thank you. And Jamada 11s. Thank you, mods. Bones and Tubbs show. Thank you. Bones and Tubbs, by the way, has been around for a long time. Since early Foogle fam. Says, hope is all is well, fam. Let's return to precedented times. I love it. And then Troy O'Brien, Jamada, All Things Random, Craig Alicious, and Olga Turan. Thank you, Olga. I believe you may be our top supporter today. Thank you. Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you. Much love. Great job, brother. If you enjoyed this show, hit the likes on the thingy. Hit the likes. Just likey. And since you probably at some point in the chat somebody did it, OHIO. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Come back tomorrow. We will have a lot more in store. Hopefully more good stuff than bad. Have a good night. It's now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. You'll be ported over to Jams if you stick around and hang out with fam. Or come back tomorrow. MarfoogleNews.com has a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we have talked about here.